And Janet Jackson has a message for Kamala Harris.
You ain't black.
You know what? She's getting a lot of pushback, but I'm going to have her back here because I decided to fully investigate Kamala Harris's genealogy. And what I discovered is a shocking discrepancy which no one has yet come across. Internet, I'm going to need your help. Now, it goes on, and she's quoting Janet here. On the Rhythm Nation album, for us, it was about making a difference in a kid's life, a teenager's life, from them taking this path with drugs and going down the wrong street to trying to make something of themselves. On that record, she sang about joining voices in protest to social injustice and pushing toward a world rid of color lines. I wonder where she stands in the forthcoming election. After all, I say, America could be on the verge of voting its first black female president, Kamala Harris. This is Janet Jackson. Well, you know what they said, supposedly, she asked me. She's not black. That's what I heard, that she's Indian. She looks at me expectantly, perhaps assuming that I have Indian heritage. Well, she's both, I offer. Her father's white, Janet says. That's what I was told. I mean, I haven't watched the news in a few days. I was told they discovered her father was white. The journalist writes, I'm floored at this point. It is well known that Harris's father is a Jamaican economist, a Stanford professor who split from her Indian mother when she was 5. Okay, so this journalist is obviously not a journalist. This person is an activist. They were sent to do this interview for a reason, sent to write this profile piece to make it look like Janet is crazy, and of course, sent to get the quotation she expected, which was that it's going to be amazing to have a black woman as president because, again, they're signaling to black people, get into line. This is your new Obama, despite any evidence that she is black. And so I actually thought, has anybody really investigated Kamala Harris's genealogy? Like, we just keep being told she's black suddenly, and the media keeps overreacting when people say she's not black. And I can't find any evidence that Kamala Harris is black. So I said, I'm going to pause everything and do a deep dive on Kamala Harris's genealogy. And what I discovered is so shocking, okay? So first, let's start with just Kamala Harris's birth certificate. This is it. This is an authentic copy of it. It's already been discussed. You can see in the corner there that we have highlighted on her mother's name is an Indian name, Shailamala Gopalan, and under color or race of mother, her mother has put Caucasian, extremely controversial, but we don't need to focus on the mother because the mother, everyone accepts the mother is not black at all, right? So if she's some part Caucasian, majority Indian, everyone accepts that the mother is not the claim to her black heritage, it is the father. So in the bottom there, you can see that it says that her father's name is Donald Jasper Harris and that the color or the race of the father is listed as Jamaican, okay? So you can be Jamaican, you can grow up in Jamaica and not be black, obviously. It's like Elon Musk, like he was born and raised in Africa. It would be absurd for Elon Musk to say that he was black because he is not black. He is a white African. So I wanted to go further into Donald Jasper Harris, allegedly born in Jamaica in 1938. He has indicated that someone in his family is black. So who are his parents? Okay. So this is Kamala's dad, Donald Harris. We're looking now into Kamala's grandparents. The grandparents' names are Beryl Christie Finnegan Harris and Oscar Joseph Brown Harris. So let's start with Beryl. Let's start with her grandmother. This is an alleged photo of Beryl Christie Harris, okay? It is the only one that exists in the public domain, and I want you guys to know that it was presented by Kamala herself. I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay, like where did this photo come from? Actually, Kamala is the one that entered this into the public domain in her book, which is entitled The Truths We Hold, which was published in 2019. So looking at this woman, she looks black and she wrote, visiting my paternal grandmother, Beryl, in Jamaica, okay? Now, when I saw this, I assumed it was a fake photo and I assumed that somebody had put it up other than Kamala because just doing a very brief search and then I quadruple checked this across multiple websites, genealogy websites and genealogists, that can't be Kamala's grandmother. Let's pull up a picture of her again. That can't be Kamala's grandmother because, at least according to my research, Grandma Beryl died before Kamala was born. And now I want the internet to fact check this with me. This is wild, okay? Beryl was born in 1921 and she died in 1960, okay? I've checked grave sites everywhere. This is it's not exactly a very common name and not an exactly very common place, specifically where she was born, St. Anne's Parish in Jamaica. That would mean that Beryl had Kamala's father when she was just 17 years old in 1938, and she died when she was just 39 years old. The black woman in that photo is not 39 years old. So this is a major discrepancy, okay? And this is just a tiny bit of digging. I went, wait a second. Has anybody realized that, like, Beryl allegedly died when she was 39 years old in 1960? That means that Kamala would have been born 4 years after her grandmother died in 1964. 1964 is when Kamala was born. Her grandmother died in 1960. So who is that woman that is in the photo with Kamala, okay? Beryl Finnegan, now looking more into her grandmother, was definitively not black. Now, how do we know this? Because Beryl, that woman that you just saw, her father was Patrick Alhanasus Finnegan, who was an Irish slaver, okay? So that woman that you just saw, at a bare minimum, has to be half white. An Irish slaver is who her father was. Doesn't look like that. Maybe that Irish slaver married a super duper black woman. I don't know, but I know that that is not a picture of Beryl, and I know that Beryl is at a minimum half white, okay? Because the father was an Irish slaver. Now, what about Kamala's grandfather? The other side of this, Oscar Joseph Brown Harris is his name. That's allegedly who Beryl married, right? Okay. What I've learned about him, this is the photo that they have produced of him. That's supposed to be her grandfather. What I've learned about Oscar was that he was born in 1914. Brown was his mother's maiden name. His mother was a woman named Christiana Brown, who was known as Miss Chrissy. Christiana Brown's father was also a white Irish slave trader named Colonel Hamilton Brown. That is the white Irish slave trader named Colonel Brown. He married an indentured servant, an Irish woman named Kate Williams, presumably Catherine Williams. And let me tell you how wealthy her family was. Colonel Hamilton established the town that they lived in. It was called Hamilton Town. It's now called Brown Town. And he owned, at a minimum, 1,120 slaves, according to records, okay? So they were a family of wealthy Irish slave traders. But now let's go back to that photo again. Who is this with Kamala Harris that is wrongly assumed to be her grandmother? Again, you guys can fact check me. I was going, this is just weird. How did nobody notice this? Well, that woman looks an awful lot like a slightly younger version of somebody that we are told is Kamala's great-grandmother, okay? A woman named Ora Iris Finnegan Allen. See that face? Looks just like the woman that we just saw, but slightly older. Now, let's go back again to that photo of the Beryl, who's definitely not Beryl, okay? And let's go forward here so you guys can get this in your head. That looks like the same woman to me, okay? But this woman is allegedly her great-grandmother, who is known as Miss Iris, okay? So pull up Miss Iris again, the great-grandmother who Kamala is allegedly on her lap. We can all agree that that woman looks to be at least some percentage black, and it's about to get weird, okay? Now, to be clear, she allegedly had 4 children. So we have Kamala's missing grandmother, Beryl, who allegedly died at the age of 39, as well as some of Kamala's great uncles and great aunts. And their names were Abraham Judah Finnegan, Noel Finnegan, and Bernard Finnegan, okay? So Beryl, the missing grandma, has 3 siblings, Abraham, Judah Finnegan, Noel Finnegan, and Bernard Finnegan. All of these people have apparently evaporated into thin air. Something is not right here. How did nobody realize that Beryl died in 1960 and Kamala, in her book, published a photo of a grandparent who she wasn't alive to meet, okay? Where is the real Beryl? Like a photo of Beryl, a photo of any of Beryl's siblings literally disappeared without a trace. This is the only reason, okay, that people are convinced that Kamala must have some black in her family is because of these alleged relatives. And it's just ironic because her family is extraordinarily Irish white, extraordinarily wealthy slave owning descendants. And the only reason we have this image in our head, just like Trump said, suddenly she was black, is because Kamala's father in 2020, just after Kamala published that photo in her book, Kamala's father in 2020 similarly decided to publish an essay entitled Reflections of a Jamaican Father, where he only included in all of his white Irish slave owning family, he only decided to include a photo of Miss Iris and Miss Chrissy, who look like the same person to me. Why would he do that? We've got a big old family, got a ton of wealth. Everyone's got a slave. Why did you decide in 2020 to publish a photo of these two women, just like Kamala did in her book?